Hello friends, tonight we're going to take a look at the HK45 Compact Tactical. This is a 3,000 round update video in addition to serving as a re-review. My original review sucked the bag. Hopefully this one will be better, though I probably wouldn't count on it. It's made by HK, it's not very compact, and it's tactical as fuck. Maybe the most tactical pistol available. Using the Carter-Higgins tactical scale, we see that this product scores an unparalleled 18,070 points. That is a lot of tactical points. And this gun is used by Navy SEALs or something probably, so that adds even more tactical cachet to this very tactical gun. I don't know if you know this, but this gun was designed by HK and cannot be destroyed by any craft we here possess. Also something, Larry Vickers, Ken Hackathorn, something, video games, replace the Mark 23, something, HK 1911. I wanted to get all the recycled Wikipedia shit that every gun channel mentions out of the way up front. Lore drives me crazy. I hate lore. I come from the music industry, and guitars and guns both sell by their lore. This gun was used by this secret military unit. This arcane guitar was used on this secret recording. The military operation was a secret, and the recording session was attended by folks so drunk that they can't remember the year it was recorded, yet they recall this tiny detail from the session. Did you know that Marilyn Manson had Lady Gaga's first rib removed so that she could suck her own dick? It's true, man. I read it on TMZ. I fucking hate lore. I like citations. Every review of this gun tells you some variation of the Wikipedia story that Larry Vickers and Ken Hackathorn, two undeniable legends. I'm not in any way discounting how awesome they are. They have amazing credentials that none of us will ever match. Folks say that they worked with, for, or around HK to build a 1911. HK wouldn't, couldn't, certainly shouldn't do it, so they made this instead. You've probably heard some variation of that story. This gun was adopted to replace the Mark 23 and is now used in special operations all over the world. This gun went on the Bin Laden raid. The details and order of events change, but the story is always the same. No citations, no additional references or information, and all this really comes from a 2007 Guns and Ammo article written by Larry Vickers. I am in no way claiming that the information in Larry Vickers' article is inaccurate. That's not what I'm saying. Instead, I'm saying that we know fuck all about this gun, yet every article I read and review I see discusses the origins and tacticality of this gun, presenting it like a video game gun rather than looking at what it actually is. Because it's viewed as a sort of magical gun used by some of the coolest folks who use guns, or so we're told, we both ignore what this gun is and what it does very well, and also what it does very badly. And there are a few things that it does very badly. So let's just for today pretend that we've never seen this gun before. We don't know who used it, we don't know how cool the people are, and we don't know what we're told we should do with this gun. I've put 3,000 documented rounds through this gun, which for one of these is very few. Practically looks new. This gun has been very, very reliable, like every HK I've ever had. It's also a very nice gun. It's easy to shoot well, with some super weird design quirks that are very inconvenient and might make the gun unpleasant for you in the long run. Features. The HK45 Compact Tactical is a not very compact, double-action, single-action, hammer-fired, polymer-framed pistol in 45 ACP, as the name might suggest. This gun is available in the usual HK variants with various safety combinations and LEM. I have my safety lever on the left side, and it also decocks. Safety, decocker. I shan't tell you which variant this is, because if I do, the HK fans, little fucking leprechauns that they are, will pop out of the walls to say, that's technically version 3.7.5, meaning that the safety is 2 millimeters shorter than the version 3. So I'm not going to mess with that. Just whatever, look it up, whatever this is, that's the version that this is. HK fans and CZ fans are the most irritating fucking people on earth. HK fans have too much money and too much time to spend on internet forums obsessing when they could be shooting, while the CZ fans are too busy telling you that their gun is just as good as some other gun that costs twice as much that they weren't able to afford. It's not as good. That time could be spent shooting their new gun that isn't quite as good as the gun they actually wanted. Now that half of you have unsubscribed and left to watch either BMW reviews or Death Cab music videos, depending on which demographic you belong to, let's continue with our list of features. It's kind of like how Springfield XD owners exclusively listen to the song Simple Man and the band Chevelle. There's just no accounting for taste, is there? The tactical HK45 magazines, like the ones you see here hold 10 rounds. This big fucking horse foot attaches to the magazine, and it isn't an extended base plate, as one would imagine. Instead, this is really the full-sized HK45 magazine wearing a plastic foot around it to make it kind of like a grip or something, I guess, even though it doesn't really come up high enough for that to much matter. You can also purchase 8-round magazines that look better in the gun, but they have less bullets in them. They're the same magazines from the USP45 compact, the same 8-rounders. The gun weighs about 29 ounces. That's really not bad. About 4 ounces more than a Glock 19. And it's a little bit more than a Glock 30, and a lot more than the Glock 36. Though I'm not really sure if any of those comparisons are really apt, because those are sort of regular guns, while this is one of those crazy tactical guns. This gun has ambidextrous slide release levers. The HK45's magazines are released by these lovely ambidextrous paddles. My favorite magazine release method ever. I love it. The paddles on this gun are large and will fit on some of the other HK models. That's nice. This gun has a safety and decocking lever on the left side, as I said before. And I've considered making it decocker only, but I just haven't gotten around to doing it yet. Even after several years. Up is safe, and down decocks the gun. Both have a very positive clickety click clacks that let you know what's happening. Newer versions of this gun are available with suppressor height night sights, though my night sights are just regular height. God, I hope you can see that. I never have stuff in frame. This is the worst camera work on gun YouTube is right here, folks. And these are the Meprolite night sights. Up front, we have a 1913 rail, though you know what fits on this thing? Fucking jack shit. That's what. No light works on this fucking gun. Great job, HK. Above the rail, we have front serrations. These, on the other hand, are great and do work. The barrel is threaded 16x1 left-hand metric threads, of course, because why would they give us threads we can actually use? The barrel is cold hammer forged with polygonal rifling like all HK barrels. This is a stupid good barrel. They make some of the best barrels on production guns. Like some other HKs, including the Mark 23, which the internet says this gun replaced, the HK45 Compact has this O-ring to aid precision with the lockup, or so they say. So, the 45 Compact's aesthetic is kind of a hodgepodge, isn't it? The slide looks like the P30, or maybe the P30 looks like it. I'm not sure which it is. The grip, meanwhile, looks and feels like the P2000. The full-size HK45 has the superior P30 grip. I have no clue why this gun has the P2000 grip and grip texture. Though it's better for carry, it's worse in every other way. My position has changed on this with the passage of time. More on that later. So how do we take this thing apart, and how is it wearing after 3,000 rounds? Although it's had a lot more than 3,000 rounds through. That's just how many I've actually documented. Disassembly is the classic method popularized by the 1911 and High Power. Lock the slide back. Take out the magazine. And then you're going to line up this notch with the slide release lever there. So do that, and then push this through on that side right there. I mean, come on, you've seen this before. Then take the slide off, and your gun is disassembled. Also, you have to have the thread protector off the gun. You probably know that. And also, be careful dragging the gun out of it. You don't want to drag the threads across the inside of the slide and potentially damage those. Don't do that. That would be bad. Inside, this gun is it's classic HK. If you've had other HKs, the frame will look very familiar to you. In fact, some of the parts are interchangeable depending on what other models you have. You can see that the frame has very little wear, with the exception of these little plastic bits on either side of the rails. On every HK I've had, those have worn. Don't be alarmed. They just kind of do that. It doesn't impede function at all. Looking at the slide, again, we see normal wear. Fairly light wear for 3,000 rounds. HKs tend to lose the black color more easily than some other pistols, but the finish impregnates the metal, so the gun is still protected. However, this one has not worn as much as my P30 had at this point in its life. The same thing goes for the barrel. We're seeing totally normal wear there, especially where it locks up. And you know what? I'll include some relatively high-quality pictures, high quality for me, so that you can take a closer look at the wear. I know some of you really like that, myself included. And then there's a little bit of wear on the recoil spring. This nylon ring floating on the recoil spring is one of the gun's most interesting features. This takes the place of the USP's recoil buffer spring. The USP45 Compact has the same nylon ring, and I'm sure it's much cheaper to produce than the dual spring setup. We'll talk about its performance later. So we see that the HK45 Compact is very durable inside and out. Did you expect to see anything different? Probably not. It's an HK. Reassembly is just as you'd imagine. Get that barrel back in first. Again, mind the threads if you've got the tactical version. Get the recoil spring back in. Get the little hooked part facing down, like so. Put the slide back on. And then line up that notch once more. Get your slide stop back in there. And press it in. Check function. Everything looks great. Before I forget, if you like my work, please consider supporting me on Patreon. These long-term durability tests are extremely expensive, and your support lets me continue to test guns and ammo even as prices rise with the pandemic. I don't want to be a channel that says, I shot 200 rounds through this gun without a malfunction and now it's good to go. In 2020, I would fucking hope so. I hope someone can make a gun that makes it through 200 rounds. It better, right? Now more than ever, your support lets me review guns the right way with incompetence, lots of bullets, and suggestive pictures of farm animals just the way Ball intended. Patreon also grants you access to the TGP Discord server, a terrible place for transgressive people with transgressive thoughts. So why should you choose this HK? Often I have a section in the video where I tell you why you'd want to buy this gun over one from another company or vice versa. In this case, there's not really anything else that's comparable. Most of the other tactical 45s with threaded barrels and such are much larger guns with larger capacities. What makes this gun unique is that you can put the smaller magazine in it and maybe conceal it, I guess. This gun is kind of its own thing, but I think it would be more productive to compare it to other HKs instead, starting with the full-sized HK45 Tactical. This is a weird family of guns. The full-size model has the same capacity as the compact because they take the same magazines, assuming you're using the large horsehoof magazine anyway. Stranger still is that the two guns scarcely share the same aesthetic. The full-size gun looks like the newer P30, while the compact looks like the P2000. Visually, this makes some difference, but it makes quite a bit of difference during the actual firing of the two pistols. The 45 full-size and the P30 have some of the best feeling grips that have ever been created by humans, and they also look like Spider-Man Speedo, which is pretty cool, I guess. The compact and the P2000 have okay grips. They're fine. Folks really like how the P2000 carries, thanks to the slickness of the grip sides, but that makes it kind of a strange choice to leave that grip shape and texture on this massive 45 compact. A gun that's supposedly built for combat, if the lore is to be believed. Originally, the full-size had the P2000-ish grip too, but it was later changed to the P30, and thank Christ they changed it. It would have been nice to see this happen with the compact also. As a result of the grip, you'll find that the full-size is much nicer to shoot. It's larger, with still the silly capacity of only 10 rounds, but it's a dream to use. And yeah, you could compare this also to the USP45 Compact, although the USP's grip is again much nicer. I really prefer the USP, I think, to the 45 Compact, if I had to say. So if the USP feels nicer, why would you want the 45 Compact? Two reasons. You may find that you can carry it a little easier, thanks to the slick grip sides, or you might want it because it's the cool Navy SEAL gun. This is an excellent pistol, but it isn't as much fun to use as some of the other HKs. How has this gun performed? If we discuss the gun only in terms of reliability, it's been nearly flawless. I say nearly because I had a batch of mysterious European plus P-ball that wouldn't run in any 45. Glocks, PCCs, HKs, 1911s, nothing. But if you throw out that load, this gun has gone through 3,000 documented rounds without a problem. It could have as many as 6,000 rounds through it, but I only mention rounds that I've specifically written in my range log. And I didn't keep very careful track of round counts prior to a certain point. So I know just based on what I was shooting through other guns at the time, there's probably another 2,000 or 3,000 through this. But again, I'm not going to just make up a number. There are 3,000 that we absolutely know about for sure. But for an HK, 3,000 rounds ain't shit. 6,000 really isn't either. That's scarcely worth mentioning. At the same time, though, it's been completely reliable, assuming one doesn't use mystery ammo. But I expect H&Ks to run, and you do too, I'm sure. I've had good luck with them. So how's the firing experience? Well, it's decent to enjoyable. But were it not for a few strange design choices, the firing experience would be outstanding. The trigger is actually good for an H&K, possibly even great if you're comparing it to the fucking tragedy that is the P30's trigger. Yeah, let's take a look. The DA pull is long. A little creaky. It's smoothed out some with use. Not bad, but certainly not great. How about the SA pull? There's a little bit of take up, then you hit a very firm wall. The brake is very crisp for an H&K. I'd call the single action pull excellent. That's very good. Let's see it again. Let's look at the reset. Also good for an H&K, much shorter than the P30, which has a reset as long as this fucking election cycle. To me, the brake and reset pretty much feel like the USPs more than it feels like the P30. Let's look at that reset again. Man, really not bad at all. I actually enjoy it quite a bit. The front serrations on this gun are very good, and I use them all the time. I wish all guns had front serrations this nice. I also love the slide release levers. They're nice and big, easy to hit, even with gloves on, and they're not in a position, though, where your thumb accidentally pins them down while firing, preventing the gun from locking open. The paddle magazine release on this gun, this is the best way to release a magazine, let me tell you. Yeah. Now that I'm accustomed to using the paddles on my P99 and a few H&Ks, it's tough not to see the paddles as superior, at least for my stupid hands. Down with buttons, long with paddles. The sights are Meprolite night sights, and you can find this gun with suppressor height ones. Meprolites are fine, they're not bad, not great. I don't love the hold on Meprolite sights. I'm more into Trigicons, but they come with the gun. They're fine. The barrel's a good barrel, and this gun shoots accurately, as you can imagine. When I mention accuracy, I have no fucking clue how mechanically accurate this gun is. Maybe that O-ring on the barrel makes this the most accurate 45 ever produced. I have no idea because I don't shoot pistols that way, and I don't really care. But I do know this pistol is easy to shoot well and fun to shoot well. For a 45, I also find that I can shoot this gun quickly. And like all H&Ks in 45 auto, the gun has a very soft recoil impulse. I think it's that nylon ring. Because of how gentle the recoil is, H&Ks are really my platform of choice for 45. It's hard for me to convey how nicely this gun handles that cartridge. The full size handles it even better. It nearly negates the cons of that big and heavy cartridge. But after shooting this gun and the full size HK45 for a few years, there are some problems with the compact that have begun to bother me very much. The full size model doesn't have these issues. Let's start with the grip. Earlier, I noted that the compact shares a grip texture and overall general shape with the P2000. The P2000 has very slick sides with minimal texturing, and some folks like it for carry because it doesn't eat your soft bits, rubbing against your skin. This shares those characteristics, but inexplicably, the grip is less contoured. It's sort of weirdly squarish with a little texture on the sides, I guess, and not a lot on the front or the back either. And is this really any good for carry, this giant tactical gun with optional suppressor height sights? I don't know. The grip just feels like a relic of the 80s when nobody wanted to put any fucking texture on guns. Also, I've actually worn this grip smoother with time. I have another back strap that I didn't use on this gun, and it is much grippier than this one. And you can feel that there's more texture up here where my hand doesn't rub as aggressively against the gun. So there wasn't much texturing to begin with, and I've made it worse. So that really sucks. I suspect it was maybe worn down by gloves. I'm not totally sure. Either way, not great. So for the first 200 rounds with the gun, maybe, before I get hot and sweaty, I shoot it fine. But over the course of the day, it gets so slick, and you have to put a huge amount of effort into controlling it. It's really, really, really tiring to perpetually increase grip pressure to hang on to this thing. You start to feel like you're wrestling a greased weasel. And wrestling the old greased weasel is still illegal in some southern states. If I put gloves on, it does get better, though. And I've come to assume that surely this gun was just intended to be shot with gloves on. No one could have designed a grip this slick otherwise. But there's one more thing about this gun that I detest. Detest isn't a strong enough word. I fucking hate the safety decocking lever on the 45 compact. I fucking hate it. The P2000 and P30 have the decocker on the rear of the gun. Beneath the hammer, you press a little button and the gun decocks. It's awesome. Probably the best decocker ever created, and you don't need a safety lever. This gun does have a safety lever that also decocks the gun, and it's perfectly positioned to bash a hole in my thumb. I actually have a scar from shooting this pistol. All HK safeties bother me a little bit, but I can overlook them because the guns are great fun to shoot, and I tend to shoot them as well as a moron like me can shoot anything. But they all bruise my thumb and will give me a blister. Inconvenient, but no big deal. I shoot the 45 full size all day sometimes with nothing more than a blister. But the compact, because of how slick the grip is, it can move around enough that once I get sweaty, the side of the safety lever just slowly bashes a hole right through the skin, and next thing I know, there's blood. If I fire more than a certain number of rounds in a day, there's gonna be blood. Now, many of you delightfully pompous HK aficionados will now tell me that my thumb should go over the safety like a 1911. Yes, in theory, yes, it should. Only my thumb doesn't at all fit over the safety, and the safety isn't in the usual 1911 location relative to the trigger. You should focus on day trading and worry less about my grip, but thanks for the input all the same, HK fans. And besides, when I do force my thumb up over the safety, when I get sweaty, I find that the gun just decocks itself. Yay! I really, really hate that lever. It is the worst. What happens is that whenever I want to shoot an HK45, I look at both of them, and I imagine myself bleeding onto a picnic table at the range, and without hesitation, I choose the full size every single time. Don't get me wrong, I like the 45 compact, if you can believe it, but I can't give it a free pass on these serious issues. These are really big problems, in my opinion. My opinion of the grip has also changed by my continued experience with the full-size gun. It's so much easier to shoot the big one with that awesome friendly Spider-Man grip. This one just feels kind of shitty in comparison. Having heard this, don't tell me to switch to the LEM either. While the LEM system is undoubtedly excellent, it isn't the definitive solution for everyone. You lose that initial heavy DA pull, replacing it with a long and light pull. I like my DA pull. That's part of the reason why I choose hammer-fired guns. LEM is great, but it's not necessarily a substitute for everyone in every case. So what is this gun for? With these problems, what can one really use the HK45 compact for? That's the question here. If you have the suppressor height sights, it's going to be tough to carry this gun. The threaded barrel also makes it weird to carry. You can't really carry it with one of the huge horsehoof magazines installed, limiting you to 8 rounds. Might as well carry the USP 45 compact at that point, a gun with a far superior grip. The gun isn't an awesome tactical suppressor host either, because the full-size gun has the same capacity and is easier to shoot. You also can't fit most lights on there, including my beloved Surefire X300 Ultra. So what the hell is this gun for? Well, remember when we discussed lore at the beginning? That's really the draw of this gun. You'll probably like it because it's a cool gun used by cool people, probably. It's one for the collection to go alongside the Mark 23, the gun it's said by the lore masters to have replaced. And like the Mark 23, our Mark 24 is another gun that I'd imagine the special fancy guys don't actually like to use that much. This is a gun for tactical gun enthusiasts, really, who are happy to buy a gun simply because it is cool. Unless you're an actual operator who operates, in which case, actually, you probably have a different gun that doesn't eat a fucking hole in your hand like a rabid ferret. Final thoughts. More than some of my re-reviews, my opinions of this gun have changed quite a bit in the last few years. The gun is not particularly useful. It hurts to use it for long periods of time, and there are other guns from the same manufacturer that do all of that same stuff, only better. But that doesn't change that the gun is cool, and maybe that's enough. I still find the gun as cool as I did the first time I took it to the range. But sometimes you have to live with something to truly understand it, or at least to really understand how you feel about it. And if you take away how cool the gun is, and what it might have been used for, and where it might have come from, it's just a decent gun. It's completely okay. It's just okay. And you don't want an expensive HK to be just decent. Adequate isn't a word I like to use to describe my HKs, especially when so many guns from the company I've tested have been really exceptional guns. This gun does have exceptional reliability, but in 2020, that's not enough for a handgun. Most of the guns that I test on this channel are very reliable. And this gun's general okayness is in sharp contrast to how exceptional the full-size model is. Originally, I preferred the small one, but as time passed, I came to realize that the gun just isn't as refined as the larger one. The idea feels incomplete, a mishmash of concepts that seemingly were assembled by committee. And you know what? According to the lore, maybe it was. And it wouldn't take much to fix this gun. That's what's frustrating. If you put the P30 grip on it and move the decocker to the spot under the hammer, this would be one of the best 45s of its size. It would certainly shoot the best. Instead, it's just okay. Totally decent, not terrible, not awesome. In all things, we should aim to do a little bit better than decent, right? Who wants to make a gun purely for collectors? Hopefully HK will work on this concept and give us a superior compact 45 in the coming decades. Thank you for watching, and I hope you all have a wonderful evening. I'll talk to you soon. Good night.